Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today we are finally getting outside and planting some more things. We've gotten some fruit trees planted and we've got some strawberries planted, but we're continuing on. We've got lots more to put in the ground. It's a beautiful day, and I've been keeping an eye on where we're gonna be able to plant some things out here in the woods. Where do we get sunshine? So let me show you a few spots that I have found that I think are gonna work pretty good for some fruit bushes, and we'll get those put in the ground. We're gonna plant some more strawberries today, and we'll take a look around at where we can plant more this year. So we have a bunch of little fruit bushes, blackberries, raspberries, all different kinds of berries that they had. These were, where were these at? Tractor Supply, I believe, had these. And so we just picked up a bunch of them, as well as some strawberries, and we're gonna be planting. So we have found this area here. We've got this kind of landscaped stairs that goes down through all of this, this landscape ground cover, and this stuff is great. Actually, it works really well for this whole area. It keeps the weeds down and other things. But what I want to do is, you see, we've got really good sunshine. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun kind of, I won't point you at the sun, but you can see we've got some breaks in the tree cover straight up above us here, and so this is a good spot that will get sunshine throughout the day. And so this is where we're going to be planting today. So we've got, actually I think we already have some raspberries grown in here. Summer, look at this. This looks like this could be a blackberry, a wild berry, or some sort. At least this does right here. So we'll see what happens with those. It looks like we've got some more growing in here. This could be a wild berry, or it just could be something else. Looks like there's a bunch of them in here, so we'll see what that is. The idea is just to plant right off the edge of this, so maybe like up a couple feet off of the edge. And berry bushes, most of them, raspberries and blackberries, they're gonna spread, and so we'll have berries everywhere. Now, you don't need full sun for raspberries and blackberries, but they do grow faster and then better. If they have, the more sunshine they have, the better they'll grow. Obviously you wanna be in an area where you can get water to them also, and get them watered, especially for the first year as they start to get established. After that, we don't really water them much. But we do have a water source out on this side of the house, which is helpful. And so let's make some spots here and get some of these bushes in the ground. It's definitely hot today. All right, so step one is obviously selecting a good place that gets a decent amount of sun. And then the next thing is gonna be to plant. So we're planting a raspberry bush here first. Raspberries, as I said, they are a spreader. So they're gonna spread by root every year. And so what looks like a dead stick in this case, we're just gonna get that wet. And now that the temperatures have warmed up, we get this in the ground, this will start to sprout. So all I'm gonna do for these is just pick a spot that's a little bit away from the path, because these are gonna grow out pretty big, and I don't want a bunch of pickers, you know, growing over the path. Of course, we can trim them back, but we'll plant it a little ways in here. And I'm using my claw, the hand claw, and I'm just gonna kind of till up an area, and we'll take in for a little closer look at some of these. So the soil here is pretty decent. We'll also put the soil that they give you, which is just some peat moss and wood chips and things like that. I'll get this in there as deep as I can, and we'll come back and water these again afterwards. But that's it. So what I usually do with these is, since I don't have any way to really tag these, I'm not going to label all these. I'll take pictures of their locations, and then I label them in OneNote. So it's just a note-taking program. There's Evernote and, you know, whatever, Apple Notes or whatever you want to use. Just make notes of what you planted, just so you know what you have. And we'll keep moving on down the row here. So you might be asking, what type of nutrients do you need to add to the soil? Do we need to fertilize? What do we need to do for the plant health itself? And normally what I would do is I would add compost during this time. This would be a great time to add some natural compost. However, we just moved here and I don't have any of our own compost made, and I don't really like buying compost because I'm never really sure what goes into it. So we're gonna leave these in the natural soil. They're shaded pretty good by all this stuff here, and we also I leave all of the leaves in this landscaping, so this stuff will grow up over these, and all these leaves are gonna decompose and mulch around these and give it a lot of nutrients as well. So we'll come back here later on in the year, in the fall, and we'll add compost every year to these so that they get a nice healthy boost of nutrients. So I'm giving these about 4 feet in between each one. And I'm doing that because, again, these are gonna, most of these bushes, I don't know about some of the ones I've never planted before, the goji berries and other types of berries, but raspberries and blackberries I know for sure are gonna spread. Every year they're gonna pop up runners all over the place. The roots grow on the ground and then they just sprout. So I want to leave lots of space for these to fill in. I'm only planting one, but you know, in 4 or 5 years, this will be a huge hedge of berries in here, various kinds. And we'll be able to come right along this pathway here and pick berries, which is the plan. We're also going to try a couple various nut trees out here in the woods, and so we've got a hardy pecan and a Chinese chestnut, and then I think next year we'll just keep adding to this area and just kind of planting various nut trees and fruit trees all throughout the landscaping here. So now these are, I know, these are a future dream, right? You know, if we live in this house long enough to see these things produce any nuts, that would be a miracle. But still, they're not too expensive, and every year we just like to plant as many trees around as we can, and if they eventually produce some fruit or nuts for us, I think that's a great win for the homestead.
What's that one of?
This one is a Chinese chestnut.
What can you do with chestnuts? Dad, we have to make Nutella.
You can roast them. You can grind them and use them in different recipes. You can eat them. Wait, I don't think you make Nutella out of chestnuts.
We need to find hazelnuts.
Yeah, hazelnuts, okay. There's also a lot of experimenting when you first start planting fruit and nut trees on your property, because you never know what will grow well and what won't. There are all kinds of different soil types and environments here with different sun patterns and amounts of sunlight that they get and all these kinds of things. And so a lot of times I'll plant, maybe we'll try a couple of these chestnut trees in different areas. We'll try a couple of the pecans. We'll try other various kinds of apple trees and fruit trees. And then after a year or two, we'll see which ones are growing the best. We'll see which ones are really thriving in the location with the soil type we have and all that good stuff. And the ones that do the best is the ones we want to plant more of. We don't want to fight against the natural environment that we have here and try to work harder to plant something that doesn't grow well here in this environment here in Michigan. And so that's kind of an experiment. So every year, just get things in the ground. That's the point. Some things are going to live, some things are going to die. Sometimes these things we buy, they come out pretty dry. Sometimes they're dormant. Sometimes you get them wet, they grow, they pop right up, they grow, they start, giving leaves on them. Sometimes they don't. Now, if you do buy these types of things, I think Tractor Supply and Family Farm and Home both have a guarantee. So it says product must be purchased before June 1st, and you get keep your sales receipt, and you can actually go to DeGroot guarantee, and I think if they don't grow within the first year, you can actually get a refund or replacement on these. So it's kind of a risk-free thing you can try out. So all we have left to plant is some strawberries, and I'll take you guys back to the old strawberry patch where we started over there in the new orchard. Show you what we're doing there. If you watched the last video, you'll have seen some of this already, and so we're just gonna add to what we've already started over there. So strawberries are a great ground cover, similar to this kind of stuff that's growing all in here and just spreads every year. Strawberries will do the same thing, and they'll also produce fruit for you. So it's kind of a win. They're great in landscaping, you know, to cover areas as a ground cover. And so we always try to make our landscaping edible, so strawberries fit right in. So let's get over and get some strawberries in the ground. So another path going up to the house here, up the hill, and this is where we planted the beginnings of an orchard. We got 4 apple trees in here. So we've got one here, and then you'll see along the bottom we planted some strawberries. So there is one right there, right there, right there, right there, kind of all going up the hill, and they've been doing really well. You can see new growth coming up there in the middle, and so they've taken root, and they'll be growing just fine here. The apple trees have been doing good so far. I don't think we've had any deer come up and eat half the branches, so that's good. And we've got strawberries all the way up to here. So I'm gonna fill this area out a little bit more. I want to plant some more strawberries in here closer to the walkway, and we'll just kind of fill this area in. The strawberries I planted in here were ever-bearing strawberries, so they'll produce strawberries kind of all through the summertime. And then I'm also going to alternate with some June bearing, which tend to spread quite a bit more. They'll cover the ground quicker, but they only put out fruit once a year. So we'll kind of mix and match and put various kinds in here, and eventually this whole hill right here will all be covered with strawberries. And then we'll have apple trees right here. We can come along the path, step out and pick some fruit, take it in and enjoy. So with strawberries, all I do, generally I order them on Amazon or pick them up locally. I've got some local here, and I've got some that I ordered. Just generally when I get them in the mail, I just throw them in a bucket of water, and as you can see, they started to sprout right away. They look dead when you get them too. They're dried out, and you think that they're never going to grow, but they do pretty well. So I think we've got 10 or 25 in here. I can't remember what I ordered, and so we'll just dig some holes and pop these in the ground, and they'll take off. Only real thing you need to know with strawberries is this is kind of the crown. You want to just plant everything below in the ground. I too. And they usually are pretty hardy and pretty easy to plant and grow. So the bottom line is with planting fruit and nuts and other kinds of productive bushes and trees around your home is it does not have to be complicated. I didn't buy any expensive equipment. I didn't buy any expensive soil amendments. I didn't buy tons of bags of compost and peat moss and special soil mixes and fertilizers and all that kind of stuff. Just get things in the ground. Now obviously, over the next couple weeks it's going to be critical that these things have water. That's about the only thing. You really have to make sure that they stay wet. And once they start to root in the ground, they're pretty good. You don't really need to do too much with them after that. I haven't touched this since I planted it. I haven't watered any of this stuff, the trees, the strawberries, any of that stuff. We got 1 or 2 rainstorms over the last couple weeks, and that was fine. That was enough to wet the ground, and everything was good. Now, of course, it doesn't hurt, late in the fall or early in the spring to go out and amend the soil or add some kind of organic fertilizer around your fruit bushes and trees if you want them to grow faster and produce more fruit. Most of the time you can leave them be and maybe add some wood chips every year, or add a little bit of composted compost from around the house, kitchen scrap compost, or chicken bedding manures and things like that. You can add those around your fruit, and it'll help them grow faster and healthier for sure. But generally this stuff is pretty self-sustaining as long as you have decent soil in the locations you're planting. So don't make things too complicated. Don't be intimidated by getting things going. Just get stuff in the ground. You can order stuff on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to the strawberries I order. I've ordered a bunch of strawberries off Amazon. They're always, actually I prefer them over the local stuff I get. You can go out to local stores, TSCs, Family Farm and Home, Walmart Garden Center, Home Depot Garden, all that kind of stuff. You can get fruit trees, fruit bushes, all that stuff. Get that stuff in the ground. The sooner you get in the ground, the sooner you're eating healthy, homegrown food and fruits, which is the goal here. So Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video. I'd love to hear your tips and tricks and things like that. Throw that stuff down in the comments below. And if this is your first time here, I'd love to have you subscribe. Reach down and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell next to it to get notified when we post new content. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.